4, 3, 2, 1.
TrojanVision's The Week That Was, where we cover the news and events for the week ending Friday, September 12th. I'm Paige Ray. Thank you for joining us. This week, the Troy University Police Department's chief, George Beaudry, gave an exclusive interview to TrojanVision, revealing details about the tailgate terror shooting that happened a few weeks ago. According to Beaudry, it all started when a 16-year-old boy got into a fight with a person standing in line at a food truck. During that fight, the suspect pulled out a gun and managed to shoot a nearby student in her foot.
That individual, along with another, got into a physical altercation. There was some pushing and a strike that we have seen on video. At some point during that physical altercation, the subject who we have arrested fired a weapon, and a bullet from that weapon then struck the victim, whose back was to the altercation, who had nothing to do with these individuals, who was basically standing in line at a food truck, trying to enjoy the end of her evening after a football game.
The 16-year-old was arrested on Friday and will be charged as an adult. Beaudry told TrojanVision this is not the suspect's first run-in with law enforcement. And after that shooting, Chief Beaudry revealed some of his suggestions that he believes could make game day safer. Simon Brown has more.
2 weeks ago, a single shot was fired on Tailgate Terrace during Troy football season opener. In light of this, Troy University Police Chief George Beaudry spoke with us about measures he wants to take to make game day safer.
Some of these things that I've recommended are a clear bag policy. I think that would help us. While we have some cameras over there, there is room for improvement. We want to promote a safe and fun environment, and I just think that those measures will help us promote that environment.
Beaudry says that out of the 14 Sunbelt Conference schools, Troy and the University of Louisiana Monroe do not have a clear bag policy when entering a stadium. He also says that half of the Sunbelt Conference does not use metal detectors, Troy being one of those schools.
Currently, half of the schools in our conference use, not only are they using the metal detector system, they're using the same metal detector system. Most people have an expectation that they're going to be required to have a clear bag, and they have an expectation that they're going to walk through a metal detector. So I don't think that if we make those steps, I don't think that we're inconveniencing anybody, because I do believe that people want that.
Beaudry also has a message for students who might feel unsafe.
Be situationally aware. Pay attention to what's going on around you. When things don't look right, remove yourself from the situation, but don't live in constant fear. That's the biggest message I try and share as often as possible.
Beaudry wants parents and students to understand that these measures could take time to be implemented if approved by Troy's administration. Simon Brown, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Once those suggestions were made public, Simon hit campus to find out what students think of those safety suggestions and whether they feel like they could make a difference.
Due to the gunshot that was fired on Tailgate Terrace during Troy football season opener, Troy University Police Chief George Beaudry wants to make game days safer. He suggested new measures that include a clear bag policy, metal detectors, and tailgating time limits.
If we have large groups outside of the stadium, if we have food trucks still in operation, why are we providing that when we really want people in the facility observing and enjoying what should be a fun time?
While Beaudry's safety measures have to be passed by Troy's administration and could take time, that didn't stop us from learning what Troy's students think.
Metal detectors would actually be better, I think. If you're patting someone down, you can miss something. It's better to be safe than sorry.
I walk usually to the game and back home. I'll probably do that every single time. And I think Troy's a safe place to do that, but I would think I would feel a lot comfortable in the game as well, especially since it has happened multiple times now.
Student Sophia Hussey says she's surprised that Veterans Memorial Stadium doesn't already require clear bags.
Honestly, coming to the school, I thought they already had that policy, So like it wouldn't affect me in the slightest. I think it would be pretty good, honestly.
If Troy's administration accepts Beaudry's safety measures, the cost of all upgrades could equal up to $300,000. Simon Brown, Troy, TrojanVision News.
According to Beaudry, there will be an increased police presence on Tailgate Terrace at this week's football game. Now, if you see something suspicious or if you have an emergency, you're encouraged to find an officer immediately for help. And staying with safety news, TUPD is urging residents to review dorm rules. According to TUPD, last weekend, officers responded to several calls that stemmed from Troy dormitories. Now, TUPD is reminding residents to not let people in the dorms that do not have key fobs and to not give key fobs to other people. In addition, smoking is not allowed in the dorms and alcohol is not permitted for students under the age of 21. Lastly, residents are urged to lock their room doors to prevent unwanted guests from entering. Still to come on Troy, TrojanVision's The Week That Was. Troy University honors the 24th anniversary of 9/11. Those stories are on the way, so stay with us.
It takes real work, breakthroughs, and push-throughs. It takes real vision that shapes leaders and real support that empowers you in all ways to spark change, to build legacies, to make a real difference. Troy University. Always real, always Troy.
The Troy TrojanVision app is now available for smartphones and smart TVs. Download it from the Apple App Store, Google Play Store, Fire TV, and Roku to stream live Troy TrojanVision News shows. Listen to Troy Public Radio, watch video on demand, and more. Get the Troy TrojanVision app today and stay informed anytime, anywhere.
This week marked the 24th anniversary of the 9/11 terrorist attacks. Thursday morning, Troy University ROTC members, students, and members of the community walked to remember the lives that were lost all those years ago. Tyron Robinson takes us to Veterans Memorial Stadium, where emotions and respect ran high.
This morning, members of the Troy community gathered at Veterans Memorial Stadium to remember the events of 9/11.
Climbing the 40 stairs, your legs hurt, you're in pain, you're wanting to stop, but it's because of the greater cause. Hey, I'm doing this because of those that lost their lives.
Troy Chancellor Jack Hawkins shares what he hopes students may gain from this tradition.
I hope that the young people who do represent our future, and particularly those wonderful students who are participating in this event, will carry from this day a reminder of the price each one of us should be willing to pay.
This event shows that towns across America, including Troy, continue to remember this day in American history.
No surprise to me that Troy University and Troy, Alabama is this patriotic. I feel it every time I go. This is a city that I've been stationed in that I feel no shame walking around in my uniform.
The JROTC program will continue to hold its annual event in order to remember and honor those who made the sacrifice on that day, 9/11/2001. Here at Veterans Memorial Stadium, I'm Tyron Robinson, Troy TrojanVision News.
This was the 5th year the university has held that memorial climb. And whether you were alive during September 11th or not, that day is remembered every year by Americans across the country. Troy students and first responders share their experiences as Miguel Montalvo reports.
It's been 24 years since the United States experienced a terrorist attack that shook Americans. And although the attacks happened far away from Pike County, many locals still remember 9/11.
I think it will always be remembered because it was such an impactful and awful, terrible day. I'm not sure that it'll be forgotten, and I don't think it should be forgotten. I think it's definitely something that we should remember forever. It should hold a special place in our hearts.
Troy Fire Department Battalion Chief Josh Ham was at a gas station when he heard the news.
We had actually stopped at a gas station, and somehow the gas station attendants had gotten some information about it. They were the first ones that I heard it from.
Not only did 9/11 change many first responders' protocols, it also changed first responders' mentality.
I mean, for starters, every incident that you go to, you have a different thought process. You know, you wonder then if it's terrorist related or if it has anything to do with something malicious.
Although Ham, Clark, and millions of Americans all have different memories from September 9, 2001, both say there was one significant shared experience.
It definitely united people in helping, like sending money for the survivors and the families impacted, and just like cleaning up. And I think it really united America.
I think the country as a whole, it brought everybody together, and it showed you how quick something unexpected can happen and how different your lives can be from then on out, just in the blink of an eye.
Miguel Montalvo, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Of course, stories like those help remind us to never forget September 11th of 2001. And now staying on campus, Troy University is also remembering service members who lost their lives to suicide. Nick Wright takes us to the main quad to see how the university is honoring those lives that have been lost.
On Monday, the Alabama Department of Veterans Affairs held a memorial service for veterans that tragically took their own lives. Before the event got started, there were some brief opening remarks by Chancellor Jack Hawkins and Director of Troy University Military and Veterans Affairs, Scott Brumbelow. We got a chance to ask Mr. Brumbelow about the importance of this event.
This is Operation We Remember. It's an initiative put forth by the Alabama Department of Veterans Affairs to remember the Alabama veterans that have lost their life to suicide. There are 139 flags being presented. That's taken from previous studies. The statistics from previous years, I believe it's the past two, that show 139 Alabama veterans that had committed suicide.
Cadets in Troy's respective ROTC programs took part in the event by placing the flags on the quad.
I know a lot of veterans myself. My family's full of veterans. I know a lot of people who are currently in the military. A lot of my friends are in the military, enlisted or whatever. And I know some of them struggle with their own issues, so whatever I can do to help kind of raise awareness for the problems that they go through and the problems they deal with in and out of the military, I would love to help with that.
We just hope that everybody passing by the quad on their way to class or on their way to eat, whatever it may be, can see these, and hopefully that spreads the message that this is a problem that we face in our country and needs to be addressed.
According to Brumbelow, help is always available to any service member who needs it.
If you see something, say something. That's one of the things that we try to tell our students, is that we can prevent it amongst our classmates, amongst our peers, amongst family members that may be suffering from either PTSD or any number of issues.
Nick Wright, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Those flags will remain on the quad until Monday. And continuing coverage now, Troy University does offer counseling services. Ty Davidson sits down with mental health helpers to learn what the best course of action is if you or someone you know is struggling with mental health.
Mental health is a major part of everyone's lives, and while not everyone struggles with suicidal thoughts, they are an extremely common issue, especially among college students. Suicide Awareness Month is dedicated to creating an open conversation for people struggling with those thoughts to ask for help without any unnecessary shame or fear.
Suicide and mental health is such a taboo topic. People don't really want to talk about the realness of it. I think if we just get away from that stigma of all the awkwardness of it and talk about it, it would be so much easier to deal with.
Troy University's Student Counseling Center allows students to receive help from a mental health professional without the price and possible fear of a therapist from an outside source, but with all the same experience and benefits.
We are an objective third party, so we're not directly involved in the situation. We can often provide perspective that family members and friends and roommates may not be able to do as easily.
While professional help is highly recommended, having people in your personal life that you trust to open up to can be equally as important.
We as counselors, we can't follow our clients around 24/7, so I encourage all of my clients to reach out to family members, friends, significant others, roommates, professors, any kind of support system that they already have built into their lives.
For anyone who has a friend, family member, or loved one in need of help, Arnold and Lawson explain a few ways that you can help comfort and support them.
Be aware of the signs and don't jump at them, don't try to push it down their throats, but be direct, don't beat around the bush.
Don't feel like you have to give advice, just sometimes being there and just listening and accepting and supporting that person unconditionally can be the biggest catalyst toward healing.
Ty Davidson, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Coming up on Troy Trojan Vision's The Week That Was, the Student Government Association aims to provide more transparency for the student body. We'll show you how when The Week That Was continues.
It takes more than ambition to make a difference. It takes something real. It takes real work, breakthroughs and push-throughs. It takes real vision that shapes leaders and real support that empowers you in all ways to spark change, to build legacies, to make a real difference. Troy University. Always real, always Troy.
Well, you may have just noticed that new commercial that we have been playing for a few weeks now. That came after Troy University rolled out a new brand campaign aimed at capturing what it means to be a Trojan. Students say it's giving them even more pride for the school they love. Our Caden Walker has more.
Behind me here at Veterans Memorial Stadium is one of the university's largest displays of their new campaign, Always Real, Always Troy. It's a message that students, alumni, and fans will see when they come to the Vet for Trojan Game Day. And it's just one of the many displays around campus that are bringing this campaign to life.
The message was developed in partnership with Carnegie Higher Education, following research with students, faculty, alumni, and community stakeholders. We asked Leslie Scrushy, Associate Vice Chancellor for Enrollment and Marketing, what the new phrase means.
For me, Always Real is a nod to our motto that we develop a student in all ways, mind, heart, and body. And Troy gives an authentic experience to all students who arrive on our campus. We develop them in all those ways.
One part of what makes this campaign stand out is that Troy students themselves are featured as the talent for the commercials.
It's so exciting, just getting to see like real students that I've met and that I love so dearly up on banners or in the video and be like, I know that person. Our class, this generation of Troy students are leaving a legacy in hopes that, you know, in the future, it's not just like people, models or, you know, actresses and actors. It's real students.
And stay on the lookout as this new slogan will appear across campus throughout the year. From Veterans Memorial Stadium, Caden Walker, Troy, TrojanVision News.
That campaign also brought the university new marketing photos of students in action. Those photos are already being used on flyers and publication materials from all departments. Troy also released a brand anthem video as well as a series of new billboards found along the stretch of Highway 231 from Montgomery. The Student Government Association says it's working to be more transparent with the student body via a press conference. Joseph White takes us to that event.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first ever Student Government Association press conference.
Since 1919, the Student Government Association has made it its duty to serve its student body. And for the first time ever, members of the media have been invited to the chamber.
So our main reason behind this is just complete and total transparency within our organization. We want to have a better connection between the student body and our organization by way of the media. So we feel like this is a good way to start. It allows all of our executive officers to provide updates regarding their position-related duties. And it allows us just kind of have that open communication channel between us and the entire student body.
With new senators on the council and new positions having been filled over the last few weeks, SGA members say that they have continued to work through the transition.
I think it's been a very good transition so far. We have a lot of people who've been involved with the Senate already for a number of years, and some who have been in it for a little while, and of course the ones who are new. So they're working together very well and kind of teaching, the older senators are teaching the newer senators kind of how things work.
As for the next press conference, no information has been put out yet. Joseph White, Troy, TrojanVision News.
The SGA also plans to host a town hall feature allowing students to come in and ask them questions. Incoming freshmen are learning about the intricacies of artificial intelligence. Recently, TrojanVision learned that Troy University is working to get freshman students familiar with AI in order to help them better understand its role in higher education. According to Dr. Scott Noakes, freshmen are exposed to AI in not only their orientation classes, but also their mandatory leadership class, as well as their Comp 1 and 2 courses. Not to mention the fact that Troy is also working to create other micro-credentials that center around artificial intelligence, all of it meant to empower and help students.
No matter what your major is, you can begin to do these things so that all of our students, no matter what their majors are, will understand how to use AI in ways that are ethical and effective and really keep the human in charge and, don't make the robot rule over us.
Noakes is part of Troy's AI Forward initiative, which provides guidance for faculty and students when it comes to ethical uses of AI. Staying on campus, progress continues at Lake Laguna as new sidewalks are being poured. Those sidewalks will serve as walking trails for people to use while exploring the newly renovated area. We are getting closer to Lake Laguna's expected completion date, as school leaders have said the project is meant to be finished by the end of this month. By the end of the month, Lake Laguna is expected to feature all of those new trails, a new bridge, and water features. And staying outside, while you normally want to keep insects away from your food, the Troy Naturalist Club combined a cookout and crawling critters for bugs and burgers. Nathaniel Bliss has that story.
Students swarmed the Arboretum on Thursday for the Troy Naturalist Club's second annual Bugs and Burgers event. After a cookout, participants trekked the park's trails in search of some creepy crawlies.
We basically are out here with a moth sheet that you might be able to see in the background. These moth sheets basically have a light set up on one side of them, and the light confuses a lot of moths, and they'll go and they'll be attracted to land on it. And when they land on it, we kind of are able to observe. And then before the event, we just kind of cook out and grill some burgers and have a good time.
Aside from nurturing a nature-loving community, the event also helped to boost the club's numbers in a competition with other Alabama schools.
You go out in nature and take pictures of different species and things that you find, and then you log it. It's a competition with a lot of other colleges in Alabama, and so whatever school gets the most entries wins.
While students were buzzing about the bountiful bugs, the event wasn't just for fun. The entomological encounters also served another purpose.
Entomology is a class focused on the study of insects and related arthropods. The reason we have them collect insects is so they can learn how to identify the different species. By having them capture the insects themselves, they can look at the structure of the body, coloration, the habitat they're found in, so they can learn about those insects.
The Troy Naturalist Club intends to hold other public outreach events like Bugs and Burgers to get people to appreciate and go out into nature.
We want to have more public outreach events and spread the awareness for why all the outdoors and nature around us is so important and why we should protect it, and sometimes even with the insects, why they're not scary.
Nathaniel Bliss, Troy, TrojanVision News.
There are over 8 miles of dirt trails in the Arboretum. If you would like to visit, it's located on Pell Avenue and is open from dawn to dusk. Next on TrojanVision's The Week That Was, it's game day weekend for Trojan football. We're heading to the virtual Veterans Memorial Stadium right after the break, so stay tuned. Tomorrow, Saturday, Troy will take on the Memphis Tigers at Veterans Memorial Stadium. As always, Hunter Boozer looks into the future to see what he can tell and how he thinks that game will end up.
This week, the Troy Trojans have another group of Tigers to face, this time the Tigers from Memphis, Tennessee. Let's head down to the virtual Veterans Memorial Stadium to see the action. The Trojans come in 1-1 on the season after a close road loss to Clemson last week. As for Memphis, they come into this game 2-0, their most recent game being a road win against another Sunbelt team in Georgia State. Troy's opening drive got them into Memphis territory where they kick a 48-yard field goal to go up 3-0. Memphis would get into Troy territory, however the Trojan defense stuffed it out, forcing them to punt. However, the Tiger defense would respond likewise, forcing Troy to punt on their next drive. Memphis' offense would take advantage of the opportunity as quarterback Brennan Lewis would find tight end Jerry Cross for a 39-yard touchdown. Going into the second half, Memphis would find themselves in Troy's red zone, however would miss a 21-yard field goal. The Trojans would take advantage of the opportunity as they would kick a 45-yard field goal to make the score 7-6. Late into the game, Brennan Lewis would find C.J. Smith for a touchdown. Troy would challenge the call, however, the play was upheld. Troy, with less than a minute to go, would finally find the end zone as Ra Thomas would take it in from 8 yards. Troy would try to go for 2, however, the Memphis defense stood strong, and the Tigers would get the win 14-12. The player of the game was quarterback Brendan Lewis. Although Troy lost the simulation, it was a close loss, so hopefully things can go a different way for the Troy Trojans. Hunter Boozer, Troy, TrojanVision News.
We end our broadcast with our friends from Troy Public Radio, who is featuring and introducing new programming. Here's the story.
Welcome to today's edition of Trojan Talk. Today I'm here with Ann Kinda and Austin Toy. They are both from Troy Public Radio, and I'm going to be talking to them about some of the very interesting things that they are involved in today. First of all, thank y'all so much for being here. I actually want to start off with Ann. I understand that you just got back from something called CrimeCon. Can you tell me what was going on there and what you were doing there?
I did just get back from CrimeCon. It was very fun. It is a very large conference of people who are interested in true crime. So that took place in Denver, so I got to go there and sit in on a bunch of seminars about true crime. Cold cases, well-known cases like JonBenet Ramsey, and there was a full 3 days, so there's a lot going on at CrimeCon.
Yeah. You and I were talking earlier about one specific case that started off in Lauderdale, a prison guard that helped out an inmate. Can you tell me some more about that?
Sure. In April of 2022, Vicki White, who was a well-respected jail guard, she helped an inmate escape. They had a very unwise romantic relationship, and they had the idea that if they escaped, they could start a new life together. And it did end tragically, and there was a lot going on with that case, so we decided to do a podcast which is called Inside Job Understanding Vicki White, and it came out this summer. It was Troy Public Radio's first true crime podcast, with hopefully more coming, but it was such an interesting case, so I got to work with Austin on that, and we put together 5 episodes.
Okay, wow. That sounds very interesting. I'll have to check that out. I do want to jump over to Austin and ask you a few questions. I understand that you are putting something together called Inquire. Could you maybe explain to me what that's all about?
Yeah, so I'm the producer for Inquire, and it's INCHOIR, Inquire, because it's a choral music podcast. Conversations about choral music, the arts, and life. It's hosted by Diane Orlovsky and Scott Sexton, and they talk to singers, composers, all sorts of choral music people. Great conversations, very meditative, very zen, and also lots of great music in the podcast.
You also are involved with something called Sound of the Stage. Could you explain to the viewers at home and myself what that is as well?
Yeah, I have a very minor role with Sounds of the Stage. It's really all the work of Joey Hudson, who's our host of All Things Considered. He's the producer, and Quentin Cockrell is a theater professor who works on the show. And what they're doing with that is they're bringing to life scenes from plays, from history, or from whatever. And the underlying theme of the scenes is that there's a sound that's the connection, right? So the first one is from A Doll's House, and there's a very famous door slam that symbols a big change in the play, and so that's the sound of the stage. And so they got student actors from Troy University are taking on these roles and coming in and doing little scenes, and then Quentin and Joey are discussing the scenes and the context, and also talking to other theater experts.
For those at home, where can viewers find those programs that you were talking about?
They can find all the Troy Public Radio podcasts at today.troy.edu/podcasts.
All right, perfect. Thank y'all so much for being here. And for those at home, thank you for joining us on today's edition of Trojan Talk.
Time we have for TrojanVision see what's happening on a daily basis, tune in to Troy TrojanVision News at 5, 6:30, and 10:30 Monday through Friday. Also, check out our website. Until we see you again, we hope you have a very good week.